What's happening, boys and girls? How the devil are we? Shanksy here, and today we are going to be taking on yet another raid dungeon. This time, everything you need to know about the Dragon's Lair, arguably where you're going to be spending the large majority of your time in Raid Shadow Legends. So, without further ado, get into it. But first, intro. Right then, boys and girls, for this video, we are going to be focusing on Dragons 20. But the same principles apply no matter what stage you're on. Now, the champions may, if you are, say, just getting into 16, 17, something like that, they may change slightly because of their affinity not matching up very well. But the general principle will always stay the same. Now, there are two main ways to take down the dragon. One is either brute force, real heavy hitting, single target damage dealers, such as a Cold Heart, such as Royal Guard. Septimus, not so much because unfortunately he is the negative affinity for this dungeon, but those big single target hitters work really, really well in here. But before we get through to the dragon, we need to go through two trash waves. So having a AoE decrease defense is absolutely huge. Definitely from stage 16 to 20, you're going to really want that style of getting through those waves within a reasonable amount of time. So we have Tyrell in here for that. War Maiden would be an absolutely great shout and is the good affinity for this dungeon as well. So War Maiden would take the place of Tyrell quite happily. Then you want someone for a little bit of speed up, turn meter control, that type of thing. Now, for this, I've got Arbiter, but in all fairness, for the job that Arbiter does, you could quite happily put in an Apothecary, or Gorgorab would be ideal because he also has the revive. Anyone like that would be absolutely great. Then I've got Ray in here to deal with the waves, and that is literally it. And then once it gets through to the dragon, we've got these two big heavy hitters. So, let's get to the dragon and talk about what the dragon can actually do. So this is the big old lump, the dragon himself. He's got quite a few, quite an interesting toolkit. Now, let's start with the passive before we go any further. The passive is immune to stun, freeze, sleep, provoke, block, cooldown, fear, and true fear. You cannot do anything like that to him. You also cannot mess around with his turn meter whatsoever. You cannot slow him down. You cannot deplete his turn meter. It doesn't matter if you've got a Law, Cold Heart. Any of these guys will not be able to slow the dragon down. So it's worth keeping that in mind, that you're really going to have the sustain to go through this fight, or the damage to get him down very, very quickly. That's why someone like a Gorgorab, Reliquary Tender, Apothecary, someone there in a support basis makes a lot of sense. Then we're going to start with Swipe. Swipe is his basic. That's going to attack all enemies, places a 50% decrease attack debuff for 2 turns. So it is really nice to be able to clear that or block that debuff going on to your guys first and foremost. Then we've got Wall of Fire. Wall of Fire attacks all enemies and places 2 poison debuffs, 5% poison debuffs for 3 turns. It also places a 25% weaken debuff on you for 2 turns. Now, this is one of the ones that it's going to hit all the time. You can't stop this from hitting, but Inhale is a different kettle of fish entirely. This will fully deplete the target's turn meter and unlock the secret skill Scorch. Now, you can see Scorch here, that attacks all enemies, places a stun debuff on them for 1 turn. This skill will be locked and hidden again if the dragon takes enough damage while the skill is unlocked. Basically, when he activates Inhale, he's going to go up and you're going to get that purple shield bar, as it were, to get through as quick as humanly possible. If you cannot deal enough damage to break the Inhale, that is when this is going to turn up and stun your team down. Obviously, then the turn meter is going to come back round and you're going to be in a much worse spot for dealing with the dragon. So that's the general mechanics. There's 2 ways of dealing with him, as I've already said. Either big AoE, or he's incredibly sensitive to poison. Poison will chip him down massively, and you don't even need great characters to do so. So I'm going to show you what a full run looks like on my account, and then I'm going to show you what a full run looks like on my brother's alt account. And he's actually, I've just got him there to Dragon 16, because the gear's nowhere near the same on between the two accounts. So let's have a look at this Dragon run from the start. So on this run, we are going to be hitting hard, we are going to be hitting fast, and we are going to go through the Dragon with pure blunt force trauma, as it were, with two very big hitters, Cold Heart and Royal Guard. Then we've got two sources of decreased defense, and then we've got a revived speed up just in case we need it. So let's get in there and show a full run. Right, as you can see, early doors, everyone's going to be bursting out all their skills, and it's going to go relatively quickly because obviously it's the first wave, and we've got a lot of sources of damage for these waves. Now, it's worth noting, if you don't have a decreased defense, these guys at level 280 are tanky. They are tanky. They take an absolute eternity to get through. As you can see, the second wave taking a lot more time straight away just because of how built up they all are. But this runs on auto really solidly. No dramas here. We may even lose one or two people on this wave, and that's why we've got the backup of Arbiter in there. As I say, if you don't have Arbiter, Reliquary Tender does do a very good job in this. Apothecary as well. Almost taking Apothecary and Reliquary Tender, taking Ray out the mix, would be absolutely fine. Ray's just in there for a nice little bit of damage. When we get through to the Dragon fight, hopefully we're going to land a few debuffs. We're going to land decreased defense. We're going to land a decreased attack. All that type of good stuff. And if the cooldowns come around at the right time, we will get this Dragon down very, very quickly. If not, worst case scenario, it's a 2-minute dungeon for me. As you can see, Royal Guard coming in there with a ridiculously big hit. And then when Cold Heart gets round, does a lot more damage. Real nice, real tidy. 100% run at about 1 minute 40 seconds. But there are epics, there are legendaries. There's Cold Heart, which is pretty much a legendary and a rare skin. There's some very good champions in this. For Dragons 20. Now, I'm going to show you Dragons 16 on my brother's account, which goes by a whole new strategy. But the same principles apply whether it's at 16 or 20, but just a different way of going through things. So, on this account, guys, we are using Kale and Frozen Banshee to land the poisons. Now, unfortunately, the gear on this account is in a very, very different situation to what it is on my main account. So, Kale doesn't have the best accuracy, and Frozen Banshee is just about at the right accuracy point. I will show you her build at the end of this run. Then we've got Grizzled Jarl in here. Grizzled Jarl is to keep us alive and block the debuffs, hopefully, should they come in on the right time. Apothecary is there to keep us all floating around with the right amount of HP. And Skullcrown is in there pretty much purely for the waves. We could replace her with pretty much anyone for the waves to do a really good job as well. So, let's have a little look and see how much differently this runs, because it's going to be all about the poisons that are going to do the damage to the main boss. All about the poisons that are going to go on the dragon, as opposed to being able to brute force it down at all. Now, the waves are a little bit slower as well, but you'll see once Frozen Banshee really kicks in there with the poison damage, the dragon goes down relatively quickly. Unfortunately, I can't move this upper stage at the moment because of the accuracy gears just not there on either Frozen Banshee or on Cow at this point in time. You know, this is definitely an early mid-game account as opposed to a very late game account on my own. So going through the waves, first wave takes a little bit longer, as you can see, but we're just trying to keep everyone going, everyone ticking over, and hopefully by the time that the dragon comes around, we'll still have everyone alive. Now, it's not necessarily the way that this team is built, doesn't necessarily need everyone alive. There's a very good chance that Skullcrown can die, and it's not really the end of the world because it's going to be Frozen Banshee and Cow's job to take down the dragon as opposed to Skullcrown with a little bit of extra damage, as it were. So going through there, fully on auto as well. We're not going to mess around with it at all. And yeah, onto the dragon at about the 1 minute 15 mark. The trouble is, as I say, I can't move this up yet because of the accuracy. Frozen Banshee is literally just about to able to apply accuracy at the moment with the way her build is. So lucky enough, all the poisons are applying there. And as you can see, we're not actually going through that purple bar there at the top at all. We need the poisons to be able to do that job for us. Bam, wall of fire. You notice how we didn't get stunned? That's because the poisons broke the purple shield as opposed to us breaking the purple shield. If we hadn't have done that damage, we all would have got locked up there. We all would have been stunned. But as it happens, Frozen Banshees putting in them poisons. Hopefully, we're going to be able to cycle through quick enough with Apothecary to really keep us alive. And Frozen Banshee is going to keep them poisons coming in. So it's a lot messier, this run. It's nowhere near as clean, but it will get the job done without a shadow of a doubt. And it's really just about utilising who you have got to be able to take down these type of bosses, you know. Any of these dungeons require the same type of thing. Just think about who you've got in your roster, who can do that job that you need, whether it be block debuffs, whether it be poison. As you can see there, that last poison tick totally took her, totally took the dragon out, and Skullcrown done the large majority of her damage on the waves. Cow done a little bit of damage everywhere. Frozen Banshee done 500,000 damage, pretty much purely to the dragon. Now, that same concept works at Dragon 16 and it works at Dragons 20. It works at all of the stages if you're going down the poison route. So, let's have a little look at Frozen Banshee's build. The solid number, what I would say to everyone, guys, is if you're looking at doing a dungeon, times your accuracy by 10. So at 16, you want 160, ideally 180. At 20, you want 220, ideally. That would be my solid thing. Times it by 10 and then add it on by 1. So basically times it by 11. Right, let's have a little look at the build and then we'll wrap this one up. So as you can see on this Frozen Banshee, we have literally just got like 171 accuracy where she's just landing these poisons. 166 speed, no crit rate, no real crit damage, decent health without a shadow of a doubt, very, very low defense. This is all fairly low gear. You know, we're using HP, accuracy, gauntlets, which were literally farmed in campaign. We're using a decent-ish helmet, really, for accuracy. And then we've got the lifesteal gear on, which I believe was actually part of the initial daily logins. There is nothing crazy on this build whatsoever. Obviously, we've actually got a HP banner on as well, because we don't yet have an accuracy banner. So once an accuracy banner gets put onto this Frozen Banshee, and we can really boost her accuracy up a little bit, all of a sudden we can look at doing Dragon 17, 18, 19 without a problem. And now, if you're going down the damage route, obviously crit chance, crit damage is where you want to be focusing on for those big, big hits. So guys, that is it. That is all you need to know about the dragon. I hope it's helped, guys. Any questions, please leave them down in the comments below, and I'll do my best to get back to you as quick as humanly possible. But until next time, live stream links down below, Discord links down below, all that type of good stuff. Until next time, be smart, be strong, be safe, and I'll see you on the flip side. Take it easy.